Okay, so one big stumbling block a lot of times in this is how to figure out how to monetize waste and recyclables. And I think you just mentioned the big three, and I've done a lot of research going out into the markets to try to figure out, what is the value per ton, per pound for a lot of different recyclables. I had a student who lives in Pennsylvania, Will Stallman, just finished my degree, was just awarded the Verizon Employee of the Month Sustainability Guy Award, whatever that's worth. He did a lot of this research. I've also had Nathan Hansen working on a little bit with me. So this is the overview of the talk. I'll just go over a little bit of thermodynamics, a sort of quick and dirty triage for how to deal with waste, then look at some specific numbers in terms of how much waste flows through society as well as Missoula, separate things into categories, look at what I think is the Republic's economic model for how they deal with it, and then the IE recycling model, and then kind of what's next. So thermodynamics, these are the three laws of thermodynamics. You can't create or destroy energy or mass, so you can't win. Second law is entropy always increases. You can't break even. And you can never hit absolute zero, so you can't stop playing either. So that's where we are.
T is mass.
T is time.
Oh.
Yeah, so energy does not change as a function
I
of
see.
time. Entropy always goes up as a function of time, and temperature is always greater than zero, and unfortunately at the moment just getting hotter because, yeah. Okay, this is global energy consumption, exajoules per year. This is total energy consumed by humanity technologically. And so it looks like, though, even though we're at 500 exajoules per year, the per capita energy consumption rate has actually gone down. And that's either going to be through efficiency or poverty. Those are really the only two mechanisms by which energy consumption can go down. In general, energy consumption goes up and quality of life is better unless you figure out a way to be more efficient. This is the paper that kind of got me started on this thing. I wrote it in 2008. I give it to all my students, and so we really try to dig into the numbers, and it's cut off here, but I start to look at how incredibly energy dense oil is and how sort of pathetically energy poor sunlight is. It's on the order of trillions of orders of magnitude, but we're sort of living off this energy that's stored through carbon bonds, et cetera. Okay, so sorry, the color there turned out terribly because I pasted directly from one file into another. But and this is just a little figure out of this book that I'm writing as part of this course that I'm giving. And I've sort of decided that, well, any matter that flows through a system, technological, biological, it's going to do one of two things after it leaves. It's either going to go up, burn, combustion, etc. It's going to go down, you're going to bury it, or it's going to sort of stay here and you're going to build it. And I think in general, it's this build middle road that Home Resource is trying to maintain. I think in a lot of ways, Blue Skies is trying to keep things from going up, but put the organics back in the ground. So hopefully this is just as simple as can be, and that's just matter and mass and systems 101. But then the next one, so this is just, so on the right side is the physics of the thing, but on the left side is more the social structures of the thing. So you would ideally take these materials and buy them at a profit. They're sort of your upside. You might barter, and I think in some ways Home Resource sort of barters their space for money because you're going to get some additional value out of something that otherwise would just be buried over here. And then even in our conversation this morning, Jeremy's like, well, you might want to stockpile some of the resources. They're sort of, banking it. So I think a lot of times that's the recycling industry runs into the problem is like, how do you bank a cubic mile of styrofoam so that someone can build something out of it? But those are the economic issues. Mass throughput. This is where it looks like the per capita generation of garbage has actually gone down a little bit, and it can either be this is global. This is from just a big clearinghouse website. And this is just pounds per person per day. And this is how we can then get into the economics of what happens in Missoula. I think we're a little higher,
We're
right? This is
higher than
Montana,
the global
almost double.
average.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
just the global average.
Yeah,
But
we're 4.65 or something.
yeah. So
What, pounds per day?
this is just pounds per day.
Or was it 7?
I think, you know what?
I think it's 7.
7, it might be 9. I
This
don't
is
know.
world,
It's,
so that
This
makes
is,
sense.
Yeah.
right, yeah. Bangladesh, they're not making a whole lot of trash per
right,
person.
right. Okay, and then this is just sort of slicing out. I don't have the data specifically from Missoula. I'm not sure anybody does. If it's out there, I'd
No,
love to see
that's
it.
part
But
of the problem.
yeah, but this is kind of a picture, and obviously the size of the pie grows with the total mass, but then the size of the slices is dependent on. And you could do this on a per family basis. You could do it on a community basis.
Is this landfill or all
This is all.
similar to landfill models, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so the idea is how do you take this and triage it? Well, so this is what Will Stallman came up with, and what we tried to do, and a lot of these are just kind of guesses, but this is an active spreadsheet that I have going. So it would just be a matter of can we get the data and put this thing through and actually monetize it. So if we just look at common waste, how many, and the idea is like how many pounds per week come through a household, and I just came up with what I thought were some reasonable estimates. There's no organics in here, no yard waste, and so this here's your 4 pounds per person per day. The average household is somewhere in the order, again, we don't really know the number, somewhere between 112 and 250 pounds per week. And you could kind of, you could probably just go and look at the dumpster or the can outside your neighbor and say, probably about 250 pounds or so. So I haven't really gotten this number dead on because I only came up with about 44 pounds per household per week. So somewhere lurking in here is some other waste, and it could be like, okay, the couch, the chair, big pile of dishes, whatever. So anyway, with this relatively modest number, I came up with 1,300 tons per month of these particular materials.
For Missoula.
Yeah.
For Missoula. This number up here, 15,000 is the input, and that was just the reasonable input for the number of households in Missoula. And I came up with about $500,000 per month.
Of conventional recyclables.
Conventional recyclables. And so none of this is being turned into energy at all. It's just market value. Now, you might say, well, gosh, some of these seem a little bit high. I don't know. You go and look at paper.
PET is
Yeah, plastic
$736 a ton.
Yeah, and these are, and I've seen these numbers out there, and usually they're the numbers that the big international traders are dealing with. And
Yeah.
And that's cleaned and shredded and palletized and...
Typically, yeah, this.
So it's all-
It says
post-processed.
baled. It says baled there,
Yeah,
so.
these 80/20s aren't necessarily all that clean.
I see.
Yeah, and they're usually 80%. They'll be 80% clear, 20% color. Is like a reasonable. They're never going to get it perfect. So
And it's
some-
baled whole, not baled pelletized. is that
right, baled whole. Yeah.
So fairly raw.
Yeah, and so that's not a bad little number there. And gosh, 110 grand a month. You can
Get all the PET
get
bottles.
all squished up.
Mm-hmm. And so, tell us, how'd you get that 44 pounds per week? That was just kind of a guess based on your own
It was.
experience?
It was. Yeah.
or- Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Were you flipping lids, or were you like picking up trash cans?
Well,
on the street?
I think my house is pretty average.
Okay.
Just kind of look and see in terms of like what volumes are sitting outside my household, and I think it's pretty average.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, a little lid flipping too. I mean, there's neighbors walking around, seeing some.
I just joined the time bank, and the first offering that I put up is doing waste audits. So if I
Oh.
could get a taker, maybe we could get some additional
More data.
figures.
Okay, yeah.
From different neighborhoods, that would be a good sample.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we might be able to do it on my
Different
street.
socioeconomical levels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be really interesting
Yeah.
to identify.
I'm probably at like a pound a week, so
Yeah?
maybe.
Oh.
I don't use anything.
Well, I don't either. I'm thinking maybe a pound, in 2 months.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, you're better than me.
Not
We
necessarily.
had tons this week because of tree limbs.
Yeah.
No, they're not down.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm probably losing my backyard.
So there's there's a first stab.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Um,
That's great.
yeah.
That's really insightful.
Yeah.
That's great.
So Nathan Hansen, my intern, and I were just kind of sitting there at the house, and he just kind of cold called Republic and said, "Hey, I live down at 720 Arthur, and what would it cost me to have a new service?" And so what they'll do, they'll come by once a week and pick up garbage for $114 a quarter. And then they'll come by once a quarter and pick up recycling for $39 a quarter, was exactly what she quoted him. So I just took those two numbers.
They come once every 4 months to pick up recycling?
Sorry, once, it's once a month to pick up. They'll charge you quarterly,
It's once a
but
month.
pick up the recycling every
Once a month.
fourth time. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it should be the opposite. But then if you've got rotting food out there, you don't want that sitting by the curb for a month either. So
It works when you have the organics
Yeah,
collection.
we need the compost.
yeah.
For
Right,
sure.
right. So I just you can chop that into monthly for both of those things. Again, I just kind of took the same model: 15,000 people, et cetera, et cetera. There's monthly, there's annual, and these are probably not all that accurate, but I said, okay, Republic has some costs too. They might have 30 employees, pay them each $25,000 a year. They might have 20 trucks. Each truck might drive 100 miles a week. It might be a lot more than that, I'm not sure. But again, this
And more trucks,
spreadsheet, you can just kind of jam through, employees cost per year, et cetera, et cetera. So, this number might be too large as well, because probably their costs are much greater. But again, you can just take a spreadsheet approach, and so they're in the business to make.
I know they don't have 15,000 customers, but
Yeah.
for
So
the recycling.
this would be another great little research project
It would.
as that number one deal.
Yeah.
Just tidy this spreadsheet up. I'm like, let's just throw it out there
Mhm.
and at least
Yeah.
get something.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, so I've got this. I've just got a little link.
I think we could get some of those numbers.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
It's public
How?
information.
They might say how many
they're a
people they're
private company.
servicing. You don't think Republic says, "Oh yeah, we're proud of the 11,000 people we service in the Missoula area."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give a better number maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd tell us some of those.
Like
Yeah.
how many employees they have.
How many trucks they have.
So again, just first shot at it, I'm like, oh, just get.
Yeah, that's cool.
It
Okay.
is.
If
Okay.
they're a
But
publicly traded
Yeah.
company, can't we just look at their?
Yeah,
the
yeah, I think
reports
there's
and-
some that is fairly, we could find it.
Maybe. Yeah. So this is the spreadsheet that I put together for Martin No Runner, and Nathan Hansen and I have been working on it. So, and sorry the font is so small, but it's all on one page. What we were trying to do is, so you might have 4 different methods for paying: cash, PayPal, check, credit. Each one is going to be some dollar value that's competitive with Republic. And so here's each of the customers in here, how they're paying, what they're going to be charged per week, and then like their actual mass, how many pounds per week. We thought we'd charge an overcharge. If you're putting more mass in, it's going to cost our company more. It's like a 100-pound tier, a 250-pound tier, and then at the end, you just come out with your billing statement. And so you've got the same thing. You've got your mileage and dollars per mile to drive around and pick everything up. and then some, and then what we thought we would do is build in a landfill fee. You know, if we know whatever chunk of your waste is going to landfill, you're gonna be charged that, because we'll still, you know, in some way be forced or compelled to use the landfill unless we get a gasification or incineration or whatever to get rid of the biological. I think that's probably the same issue that St. Pat's is like, not gonna recycle that bloody mess of whatever.
It's not legal.
Yeah, right. So some, you know, some fraction is gonna have to be this, so that has an actual landfill fee or incineration fee or however it gets disposed of. And what we arrived at was this document, and maybe I'll click in here, yeah. Let's see if I can, I thought this was gonna be a little smoother, let me just, I put a little hyperlink in my slide, but let me just,